Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and today is the first day of official Masters 25 previews. We have seen a few cards already previewed a couple weeks back. However, now begins the true onslaught of cards over the course of the week. And as always, we're going to recap and do some quick analysis on each one that we saw today. Now, quickly before we get started, though, just a really fast reminder, if you're looking for a way to support the channel and what we do here, just check out the description below. You'll find a few ways. Our Patreon page is linked below. You'll also find some links to products on Amazon, including Masters 25. If you make any purchases once you go through those first links, we'll get a small percentage no matter what it is. And then finally, Flipside Gaming still offering the promo code for a discount for our viewers. They have a good deal on Masters 25 as well after the promo code, so you might want to check that out if you're looking to pick these up, or really anything. So, as always, thank you to anyone who looks at those. It really helps the channel a lot. With that being said, let's get into the cards for today. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Awesome. I'm really happy to see this one. So, this is a rare, originally from Dark Ascension, and this card has been a part of competitive Magic basically ever since it was printed. I mean, think about over the years, all the Legacy Death and Taxes decks this thing has been in, right? Among other various decks in Legacy as well as Vintage. And most recently, too, Modern Humans. Huge deck in the meta. Two of those were in the Pro Tour top 8, and this card has been very popular. That original version will run you about $20, so it's a very welcome reprint. Happy to see this, happy to see it at Rare. They did have a World Magic Cup promo card, and maybe it would have been sweet to get that art as a change, but I'm not going to complain because I'm just happy this card is here. Alright, this next card comes to us from a Japanese language preview. On the right side of the screen, you see the 4th edition version for context, but of course this is Blue Elemental Blast. Nice nostalgia include here. I was thinking this and the red one would be in the set because back in Eternal Masters, we got Pyroblast and Hydroblast with brand new art. They looked really sweet, and I thought they were a nice inclusion. Makes sense that they did the same thing now with their counterparts. We'll look at red in just a few moments. I also want to point out the watermark here, because this was a card from Alpha Beta Unlimited, is the Magic M. Looks pretty sweet, though. And the art is incredible. Now, this is an inexpensive card. I mean, you can even find alpha versions of this at a reasonable price, sometimes around like $15. So you can even go as far as to say this card is worth pennies if you're looking at the revised and the 4th edition version. But you know what? It's a common, it's not uncommon, it's not rare, it's not taking up spots there. So I'm happy to see it. I think it's going to be fun to play in the limited game and fun to collect with that art. Let's look at the red one. And here it is. On the right side, you'll see the 4th edition version again for reference. Now, this card's a little more expensive than the blue counterpart because it's a little more important in, say, Vintage and Legacy to deal with blue threats. And alpha versions of this will run you about $30, $35, a little more expensive, but still pretty reasonable. Now, beyond that, again, you can get these for pennies if you want to go like revised or 4th edition or something like that. But let's take a look at the art side by side. I love what they did here with the hands basically in opposite positions. If you look at the fingers, I think that's kind of a cool touch. You have the blue blast, the red blast. The backgrounds are the other color, so red in the background of blue and blue in the background of red. And it looks like they could be colliding off screen. Just a really nice job here. Next is Curse Catcher. This was actually the professor's preview from Tolarian Community College. They always give him the merfolk, so we got Curse Catcher. Really good reprint here, though. They kept it on uncommon. Thank you, Wizards. They move it up to rare. And it's another opportunity for players to get their hands on this card. The Shadowmoor version, which was also uncommon, was up to $10 due to its play in Modern as well as Legacy merfolk decks. So I'm really happy to see this one. Alright, as we move into black, we get Murder, and this card was actually previewed last week, but I didn't do a video because it was the only card. I didn't feel like it was worth your time to talk about one common, so I figured I'd roll it into this one. Not a lot to say about the card. I mean, if you're trying to find iconic cards from like some of the later core sets like Magic 2013, this one certainly qualifies. It's going to be great in the limited game, no doubt, where I'm sure there's going to be some very powerful creatures you can put away with this thing at instant speed for just 3, even if it is 2 on color. This is going to be premium removal, no doubt. Probably first pickable in many packs, as a matter of fact. I think the card's going to be that good. For the limited game, value-wise, yeah, it's not a card that's super expensive or anything like that. Again, you can get these for around $1 or $2 typically. Sometimes they see some pauper play, though, in like mono black control decks and such. Achroma Angel of Fury. This one's a mythic, and unfortunately this has already made a few people furious themselves because of the low financial impact of this card in Mythic. So if you open up a pack, this happens to be your Mythic, it might not feel real good a lot of the time. Now, you can pick these things up for just a few dollars. That's the problem. Even the From the Vault version of this card is really just a few dollars. Now, the good news is you do get the From the Vault art, which is Therese Nielsen art, and it looks amazing. Therese Nielsen, a lot of people's favorite artist, one of my favorite artists. Awesome piece here. And if maybe you didn't want to pick up the From the Vault version because you didn't like the specialty foiling, here's an opportunity to get the same art either in a regular foil or just a regular Magic card. So I do like that. I think that's fantastic, especially for some Commander players out there, casual players that like this card. But again, you can't overlook the fact that you might be opening a $2 Mythic or so. That doesn't feel great. Now, I'm okay with a few dud Mythics as long as there's a lot of good rares and some really strong uncommons as well to add value back. We'll have to kind of see how the week unfolds, though. Balduvian Horde. Okay, this one's kind of a fun one from a nostalgic point of view. This is a common, so again, they didn't take up like a rare or even an uncommon slot, which is kind of nice. But this card does harken back to a very different time. This is from Alliances. And believe it or not, if you didn't play back then, this was a extremely powerful card. This card was like the real deal back in the day. And it was actually kind of expensive. I remember these things used to run around $20, I think many, many years ago for the Alliances version. They also reprinted it in 6th edition. So it's kind of cool to see it again here. And at Common, it feels like it'll be kind of fun to play with and just bring back those memories of nothing else. Blood Moon, nice inclusion here at Rare. Now, this card has been reprinted many, many times, of course, but players are still happy to open a pack and get a Blood Moon because it still holds value. This is a card that sees play in Modern, Legacy, and other formats, and even though it has many printings, still running at $20, $25, sometimes even more for some of the older versions of the card. So this is actually pretty nice to see here, and I do want to point out, too, the watermark is super sweet on here because it's Blood Moon, it's a moon, the watermark from the Dark is also a moon. Perfect. Imperial Recruiter. Now, this is a big one. This is at Mythic, but this one has a huge financial implication when it comes to figuring out value for this set. This card was originally printed in Portal 3 Kingdoms, and of course that was a very rare set to find copies of, especially in the English language versions. Now, beyond that, the card also saw legacy play over the years. Now, it used to see more than it does today. Currently, you'll find it in a lore index. It's actually pretty sweet there. But in the old days, a while back, going back maybe a year, 2, 3 years, this card was in a lot of Painter Grindstone decks. Now, those decks got pushed out of the meta, so you don't really see them anymore. But back in their heyday, this card was up to around $300, $325. Since then, it's come down to around the $225, $250 mark. So it's a little more affordable, but still very expensive. There was a Judge promo the card made too, but at its height, it was around the $200 mark, $220. And it's come down nowadays, too, to about $150. Now, the reason the cards were so expensive, though, was just rarity. There's not a lot of Judge promos out there, and there's even fewer Portal 3 Kingdoms, probably. So it's not a card that's easy to find, necessarily, but there's also not a lot of players looking for it. So I would compare this a little bit to maybe Caracas from Eternal Masters, where once this actually comes out and people can get their hands on it, the card price will probably go down pretty sharply. Those original versions, though, will hold value because of their rarity, but this one will probably start out at a pretty nice price point, maybe around $100 or so, and then probably creep down closer to the $50 mark is just my early assumption here. Also, too, we got some new art on it. I actually really like the art and the flavor text. A passionate recruiter will win a war before the first arrow flies. I think that's actually really sweet. Pillage. Okay, this one's a common, not too much to say about it. It's been printed many times. This here, again, is more for limited play and trying to bring you back to the days where land destruction was affordable and something you actually had to really think about when you played Magic. You'll have to remember that this card exists when you're making your mulligan decisions in Draft or Sealed while you're playing this set, for sure. Gisela Blade of Gold Knight. Okay, well, here's another Mythic that I'll have to be honest, feels a little disappointing from a financial point of view. I like the card. It's an awesome card for Commander and casual play. I'm happy to see it in some ways, but I feel like this would have felt a little bit better as a rare to me in this particular type of set. Now, just so we're clear and you're wondering why you're seeing two versions of the card, on the left side is the actual preview card that was from Eternal Magic, but they put their watermark on the text, so I want to make sure anyone who needed the text could see it. And, of course, you see the Commander 2015 version on your right side of the screen. So this card was originally from Avacyn Restored. It did get a printing, of course, in Commander 2015, which wasn't all that long ago, and because of that, more than enough copies are out there. As a matter of fact, this card will only run you a couple dollars. So again, another mythic that is a little lackluster. Hannah Ship's Navigator. This is a card I personally like, and I love the Therese Nielsen art, but this is a rare that does have a little bit lower value. I mean, you can get these things for just a few dollars. This card originally was printed in Invasion, and then it did get a Judge's promo. That's the first time you saw the Therese Nielsen art, and then in Commander 2016, they reprinted it again with this art. So, because it's pretty accessible, it's not very expensive, and it might be a little disappointing for some. It's still a good Commander card, and if you're looking for this card, especially with this art, you get another crack at it, and that's kind of nice. But I can't help but feel this one is going to be a little bit of a disappointing rare just overall, because this is a master set. And not to say there won't be other cards from Invasion or other Weatherlight crew members, but I do think people would have liked to have seen maybe Phyrexian Altar, Captain Sisay even. They would have been cards that could have been a little more welcome, but they could still be here, so we'll see as the week goes on. Niv Mizzet the Fire Mines. Okay, this isn't rare, so at least it's not a mythic this time around. But again, it's a card that isn't very expensive. I mean, it's been printed a few times now. You can get these for just a few dollars. I am glad that they brought the original flavor text back, though, because I think that is super sweet. Well, I got good news, and I got bad news. The good news is, Chalice of the Void has been reprinted. It's going to be in the set. Yay! The bad news is, it's going to be mythic. Boo! Okay, so here's the thing. I've been saying for months now in the market watches, they almost have to reprint this thing. It feels like they've been waiting for the right spot. Masters 25 felt like the right spot was coming, and here it is. It made it. The art's the same. Still the same card we know and love. Fantastic and modern, especially in like Tron decks. You see this in Vintage Legacy as well. Now, I'm a little disappointed, though, that it is at Mythic and not Rare. It got the bump up the Mythic. I understand financially it's a good Mythic, because if you're worried about trying to find Mythics that actually feel mythic from a financial point of view, this is definitely one of them. But it kind of hurts when we used to get this one at Rare, even as recently as the original Modern Masters, which granted isn't super recent anymore, but feels not that long ago, right? Now, not much more to say about it. Again, it's going to go down in value when the set comes out. The original versions will go down a little bit. This one will be, of course, the most affordable copy. We've seen this type of thing time and time again. But because it's a mythic and it's a limited release set, won't be too long for those prices to rebound and maybe even just go higher. And we saw that with like Snapcaster Mage recently and Liliana the Val, right? So I would expect a similar trajectory for this card. The only thing that might keep this card a little calmer than the ones I just mentioned is the fact that I do think the print run of this particular set will probably be higher than Modern Masters 2017. It would probably be a little more comparable to the way Iconic Masters felt. So maybe it won't have as drastic of an upswing as quick as some of those other cards did have. But I do expect this to regain value relatively quickly, unfortunately. So, yeah, think of it this way. If you wanted Chalice of the Void, you're getting kind of a short-term sale to get a better price on it before it goes back up to where it was. Sundering Titan. Okay, this one's a rare, not a mythic, but it still feels a little disappointing because, again, it's not an expensive card. You can pick these up for just a few dollars. And I think what furthermore has disappointed a few players on this one is this was the art from the package. And people were speculating for the last few weeks, like what this was, and thinking of things like Arcbound Ravager, right? And then it turns out to be Sundering Titan. So that doesn't mean the other cards people speculated on won't be in the set, of course. Hopefully they are. But at least seeing this one, it was a little bit of a letdown today, I think, for some people. I like the card personally for like cubes. There's definitely things you can do with this. And I've actually used to see this in Modern a little bit in Tron decks back before other cards kind of took its place, right? Like Karn and such. But back in the day, this wasn't a bad Tron pick. And every once in a while, I'll still see someone running it. But aside from that, it's mostly a casual card nowadays, especially for cube players. And yeah, again, it's a little bit disappointing at Rare, but there are worse things too that could be there. All right, with that being said, those are the cards for today. So in some ways, I felt like a mixed bag. Like you had some really big ones that were exciting, and then you had some other ones that are kind of like, why is that here? But I think as we get to see the rest of the week, I am excited about the nostalgia theme and just seeing some of the cards that harken back to the old days, like the Elemental Blasts and even like the Horde and stuff, was kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else we see over the course of the week. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.